Hey everybody, Fifth Horseman here, playing more Kerbal Space Program, and today we're sending a pair of ships to Elu, and also possibly doing a couple mid-course corrections on the other ships, or maybe even arriving somewhere. Who knows what's going to happen this episode. The first ship to go is Voltion's E-Long Trip. It's got a pretty hefty launch stage, and then it's got this thing with 3 nuke engines to land on Elu, and it's also got a probe, which I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with the probe. He says remember to disconnect it. Maybe it's just a lander so that there's something to do on Elu other than get science. He told me to remove one of the 2 tanks off of here. There were 2 of these, so I did. I had to do some refinagling, though, because either I was disconnecting it from here, which is bad, or I was dropping all this stuff, which was bad. And also, you put 2... you put one of the long girders here, and I haven't unlocked that yet, so I replaced it with 2 of the small ones. If you look here, we've got Voltion, Commander Voltion, who designed the craft. Of course, he gets to fly it because he's sitting at home, along with Sander and Shaky. Basically, he's the Jeb, and they're the Bill and Bob of this trip. So I like ships that send multiple people up, though. I enjoy that. And hold on a second while I kick my cat off my desk. Okay. I like missions that do that because we like to get people out into the universe. So we are going to not waste any more time, and we are going to, in 3, 2, 1, launch. And this is looking pretty good. The computer's on. Commander Voltion looks concerned, but so far content with his ship. Shaky and Sander basically just look concerned, not anything else really. We got one of our engines is beefing up here, but that's no big deal. I'm assuming, yeah, when I hit the spacebar, these are going to go, which is nice. How's our thrust to weight? It's a little low, meaning our atmospheric efficiency is a little low, but it's climbing, as is our efficiency, so we're fine on that. Morning launch, we like those. The mountains get lit up from the background, which is nice. I'm really worried about the hit our thrust to weight is going to take as soon as I ditch these engines, but we'll find out what happens here. Ooh, 1.4. That's kind of scary. Our efficiency's going down. Our speed is probably going down. Yes, it is. But we're doing the best we can here. I could light the nukes in the atmosphere, and I'm seriously considering it. But I'm not going to. I'm going to keep up with the plan. I've already changed the ship enough from what he sent me. I don't want to change it completely. One thing I noticed is the guys are going to have a very long trip trapped in the capsule until we land on Elu and we can ditch this science container. Hopefully it won't blow up when it crashes into the ground. Okay, our atmospheric efficiency is getting a little bit better. Thrust to weight is about where I like to be on the launch pad. Our apoapsis is at 10. I'm going to still hold out until it gets to about 12.5 before I start to tilt over here. Maybe just wait until 12. There you go. Let's go ahead and start this thing tilting. We've still got very little Delta V left in this tank, which is amusing considering how much fuel there is left, but we still got this engine here with this, so I'm not super concerned. Okay, apoapsis is at 17. I don't want to go below 45. Okay, and goodbye. Okay, our thrust to weight is 1.04. This is, I'm going to say, concerning. Concerning enough that I'm going to make an executive decision and get these guys going too. Apoapsis is at 20. We're going to sit here at 40 degrees until our apoapsis gets to 30. Just pumping fuel up in the ship so that these tanks stay full, which is what they should do. And we're at 30, so with a little bit of faith in the process here, I'm tilting over just a little bit, not too much, because I want to kind of give us a little bit more oomph going up. Just so you know, the nuclear engines aren't as bad as you think they are in atmosphere. They're terrible on the ground, but once you get about 10 kilometers up or so, once you can reasonably do your gravity turn, they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. they're basically, they're not as efficient as they are in space, but they're like 90% or 95%. It's actually ridiculous not to use them in atmosphere, unless you're for some reason role playing that you don't want to use them in atmosphere. Okay, we're almost out of fuel in this bottom engine here. There it goes. Goodbye. And I just screwed up. I thought that there was an engine attached to the bottom of that, and there isn't. We are going to ditch the probe, sadly. We are going to ditch those. We're going to ditch all of this stuff. We're going to bounce ourselves out. We're going to hit the chutes. And we are sadly going to call this a failure. Or, as you will call it, a test. This was a test of the ability for this thing to land back in the atmosphere. Tell you what, I'm gonna ride these guys down. I'm gonna do a crew report from probably the water or something. It's probably not gonna get us any science, and I'm gonna meet you back on launch pads with the same dudes in the same ship, and I'm gonna do it correctly this time. Okay, we are back roughly where we were before when I screwed up, or a little bit before where we were before when I screwed up. We're almost at 40 kilometers. I'm doing a little bit better this time because having had launched the ship once before, I kind of know its quirks. So I started the nukes as soon as I dropped the last stage. So all four of these engines kicked off at the same time. And now we are about to drop this guy and not the other one. Okay, we're over 45 on our apoapsis, so I'm bringing this down to 10, and when we get to 50, I am dropping it to the horizon. Yeah, things are going well. The nukes are chugging away. Okay, not quite in orbit yet. I've had to tilt my nose up a little bit because I realized my thrust to weight is so low that my time to apoapsis is going down, and I've arrested it at about 7 seconds, which is actually pretty good. I'm just going to keep it there. Going to keep burning as far forward as I can. Try to keep this thing between, 5 and 10 seconds or so. Just keep tilting the nose down until the number stops going up. This is a way to get a lowish thrust to weight into space, and not lose the entire payload. Because you gotta be going sideways a lot as much as possible, but you also can never get in front of your apoapsis, because once you do that, bad things start happening. So looks like I'm bringing it back to the horizon now. And see, as soon as I do, though, that starts dropping. So I guess I got to keep it up just a little bit. But yeah, watch those numbers. And if you're not using Kerbal Engineer for some reason, like if you hate yourself or something like that, you can do all this from map mode. But personally, I would rather see the pretty than watch map mode all day. But our periapsis is almost above the atmosphere here. Bring this back down. There we go, 82, and it's going down pretty fast, so I think I'm going to get it up to maybe 90 and just let it chug itself down until it comes down. If it gets down below 80, I'll kick it back up again here. Okay, well, I got a pair of burns. The first one is very hefty at 2786. That includes a fairly hefty normal burn, if you look at node 1 here, of 1900. And the reason I'm doing that here instead of waiting till I'm at the ascending node or descending node is because the descending node was like here. So I would be doing this burn closer to the sun than I like to do when I'm going way out here. And if I put a 1900 burn here, it actually only adds about 700 meters per second to the actual burn because of trigonometry, and trigonometry is awesome. So I did that just to kind of mitigate that, and then also it pushed the descending node out here, so then I could do a smaller descending node burn of merely 115 meters per second with a little bit of prograde to get us an ELU encounter, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So you guys are in, I don't even know how long this is, 26 minutes from now, you're going to be burning to ELU. So, it says it's an 8-minute burn, though, which is going to be fun. So I think I'm going to split this into 2 burns. One of which will get this out to probably somewhere around Moon's orbit, maybe a little bit past. And then the next one will come down, and it'll be about maybe a 5-minute burn. We'll do about 3.5 minutes and then do a 5-minute burn or something like that, just to mitigate any problems with phase shifting here. I don't know if this is possible, to be honest. But let's go ahead and try it. I'm just going to burn now. We'll see what happens. That's the Kerbal way, right? So I will be back when I've decided whether or not this is a total failure or not. Okay, we're back on the launch pad. I may have screwed up the E-Long Trip ship. Trying to split it up into two things has made me kind of miss out on my ELU window. But we're going to send up a second ship, so ideally if that one doesn't make it, this one will. And if you want to have a backup ship, $400,000 and a whole bunch of crap you don't need because it's actually supposed to go to Joule is exactly the ship you want. But Kyle told me that this ship would be fine to send to ELU, so I'm going to do it. And Kyle and Francois and Nigel are going up in this thing. And yeah, may Joule have mercy on your souls. Let's go ahead and turn on the computer. Let's crank up the volume. And in 3, 2, 1, launch. You did it to me again, Kyle. You did it to me again. Let's go ahead and save what we can here. I'm just gonna stage everything. Okay, see what happened here, and I'll tell you what happened. Let me disconnect this guy. What happened was decouple. Okay, goodbye. See what had happened was he only had the solids on the first stage, and the solids weren't strong enough. Whoops! And I just lost power, but luckily I'm playing on a laptop. His first stage only had the solids on it, and they weren't enough to keep the ship from crashing in, or to launch. They weren't enough to launch the ship. I guess I'll go ahead and take a temperature scan, a mystery goo, a material study, and an atmospheric pressure scan while we're here. Keep all these datas. Let's do another mystery, I guess. There we go. Keep that mystery goo. Might as well take them all, right? But yeah, so then I staged to stage the next thing. So I staged to get the engines going, but he had decoupled the things from there. So I hate to say it, but this is just too many failures, too many very expensive failures, dude. Let's decouple this. Why not? Okay, we are going to recover, and I guess get the science from there. I'm going to tell you what. Let's go ahead. So yeah, basically sometimes I will check your staging during flight or before we even launch or whatever. Oh, this thing has a reverse on it now. I like that. Sorry. But that's not guaranteed, and it's kind of expected of you to do that. So I'll still fly your stuff, Kyle, but you got to check those things. Sorry, dude. Okay, but anyway, so I'm going to do a couple mid-course corrections here. The Zilla launcher in 9 days has a correction. Marindale's Joule Anywhere in 15 days has a course correction. And then the E-Long Trip 2 has his actual maneuver node that's going to hopefully get him to ELU, but I'm really concerned that it's not. So I'm getting this guy aimed at his maneuver node, and then we're going to fast forward time so he can do his burn. And I'll return once we have a nice, good Joule encounter. Okay, this guy is just too unwieldy. He is almost out of fuel anyway. He's only, quote-unquote, got 623 meters per second, and I'm going to dump him. I'm sorry. I hate to do it. But I need more, whatever the word is, agility. I need to be able to actually steer this craft, and with that huge thing on the back of it, I just can't. This'll maneuver is going to take forever. So, I have a feeling that this is more fuel efficient than he was expecting anyway. But we're just getting our... And ideally, we're going to see our lathe encounter, but I don't even see it on the maneuver. Or, yeah, on the maneuver node. So I'm concerned that I'm not going to see it on the actual orbit either. But I'm going to kill this final 0.1 meter per second here. I think we're going to do the same thing with this guy that we did on the other guys. Now that we have it basically exactly how we want it, we are going to, out here... Okay, I got an encounter, or a maneuver node right as we enter Jewel's Sphere of Influence. It's a tiny little 13 meter per second one. That's going to get us this nice tight lathe encounter. I had to use radial and prograde, a little bit of normal, which you expect just to get it in the equatorial plane here. But I had to use both prograde and radial because just using prograde, the only apoapsis or periapsis around Jewel was within the atmosphere. Once I gave it a little bit of radial too, I was able to pull the apoapsis away from Jewel. Or sorry, I keep saying apoapsis. The periapsis away from Jewel, while keeping the apoapsis within the system, which is nice. So that'll do that. And that's about it. So let's move on to Marindel's Jewel Anywhere. Marul and Funvigen have a maneuver node of their own coming up in 5 days. Well, that's the anti-marker. I have to get used to seeing that anti-marker because it was never in the other versions of the HUD, and I'm very glad it's there now. One of the things I definitely wanted, because as you're doing a burn towards something, it's nice to see how close you are to steer it. I'm looking forward to doing my first rendezvous with it to see exactly how easy it is to aim that thing while you're thinking backwards. So yeah, this maneuver node is in 5 days, almost 6 days. It is very small. I can only assume it's going to do something at Jewel, but it's probably not going to do what I set it up to do because that's just the way these things seem to work for me. But I should be able to do to it what I did to the other one. Yeah, it's not. It at least has the encounter with Lathe still, but the encounter isn't good anymore. But I'm sure I can fix that. Okay, I've got the same thing I got before with the other ship. This one, the trick here, and I figured it out finally after just fiddling. You want to hit these guys if you encounter them too close to this side of Jewel, this side of their orbit. When I say these guys, I mean Lathe specifically. Lathe is orbiting like this around here. If you hit it here where I'm going to, you can't actually get yourself slowed down enough to get a good orbit. So I radial outward in order to hit Lathe later in its orbit, and then use the prograde to get my encounter close enough so that it'll swing around and then get a nice orbit around here. So that's the way you do that if you're trying this. And now it's time for the Elong trip to finally do his ejection burn, and I'm going to keep you here for this one, at least part of it, because like I said, I don't know if this is going to work, and now this is my only ship to Elu. And I take full responsibility for this. I misjudged how long it would take for this guy to orbit all the way to Minmus and back. It was basically a rookie mistake. I, for some reason, thought it was only a few days. I was thinking moon, and it's actually 10 days, which means 20 days round trip. So, oops. I don't remember how long the burn is, but it looks like we should definitely be starting right now. Hopefully we won't go into the atmosphere. If we do, that's basically the end of my Elu endeavors. And sorry to everybody who sent an Elu ship, or both of you who sent an Elu ship, because obviously with this one, I screwed up, and with Kyle's, I'm not going to take the blame for that one. You sent me a ship with incorrect staging, and that's just the way it works. But I'm not mad or anything. Don't worry. I'm just disappointed. I wanted to get your ship up there. So we're burning away here, and I will be back when we know the results of this. Unmitigated failure. I think that's what I'm going to name this episode. Yeah, I burned way too long. The maneuver node, I followed the maneuver node instead of map mode. Another rookie mistake. I'm apparently out of practice. It is true I haven't played the game as much as I do in the past, but come on. I'm not this dumb. I'm going to slow down, see how much fuel I wasted here. Try to get an encounter with Elu. I don't know what my problem is. But I've wasted so much fuel that at best, we're going to get an encounter that we have to just come back from. So sorry, Voltion. Sorry, the three of you, actually, because yeah, look how far away we are from an encounter. This is going to be like a multi-decade trip as well. But ideally, we'll get an encounter here, or at least a close approach. That we can tweak out here. Yeah, see, we're already past... That's crazy. We're past the descending node, and we're never going to reach the ascending node. And I don't have enough fuel to turn around and get you guys back into Kerbin orbit. We're just going to have to ride this thing out. The fail train. I guess we will... you know what we'll do? We'll do these, and we'll transmit them back. Yep, there's no comms device. That's even better. Yeah, you guys are in for a very long trip, and I'm very sorry. What can you do? I'm just gonna ride you guys out of the sphere of influence here. Maybe I'll try to connect you with Jewel or something. Although I've sent our orbit so cattywampus that I think encountering anything but Elu is out of the question. Yeah, this was horrific. I'm sorry. I am not this bad of a player, but I guess I kind of am because I'm the one who did this. Yeah, now once we get out here, Elu's going to be all the way over there, so screw it. Okay, Kerbin. Let's fix this by setting Kerbin as our target. And then out here, we don't really need to do that. Let's just add our apoapsis, which is only 3 years away now. I'm going to call that good. We're going to try a couple burns here. Let's see what happens. We burn retrograde. Yeah, see, that's going to take us off the beaten path. Let's just, for the fun of it, let's see what happens if we burn at the descending node. It's only 100 and some odd meters per second, and it gets us in the plane, which is going to make a Kerbin encounter all that much easier. And then if we also burn a little bit prograde, or actually probably radial. Let's just do these by hundreds. Let's accept the fact that this is going to be a very crazy burn. See, now that'll get us on Kerbin's orbit. Sadly, Kerbin's way over there at the time. But it's a 222 meter per second burn. It'll get us on a orbit intersecting trajectory. And then here... Okay, well, you know what? Obviously, I can get these guys home. It's just going to take a decade or two. Some days you got it, some days you don't. What are you going to do? I hope you enjoyed watching me fail everything, except for my Jewel encounters. I didn't really enjoy failing everything, but I did enjoy getting my Jewel encounters. Next time, looks like we're going to do Marindale's Boho correction burn, and then who knows what else. I don't know what's going to happen next. I need to think up a reason to have this series going. Though, what are you going to do? Failure all around. What are you going to do? I'm Fifth Horseman. I will, as always, talk at you later.